Asterix is a very, very popular franchise. Wait, let me try this again. Asterix est une franchise très, très populaire. That's better. Released 2 years ago in November of 21, Asterix and Obelix Slap Them All was a beautiful game that fell short when it came to gameplay. The long and boring levels, the repetition of bosses, the lack of depth in the combat, everything added up to make the game a slog to play. Now, Mr. Nutz Studios and Microids brought back the French duo to another game and, of course, I needed to take a look, but before I forget, hi, I am Savino, and this is The Flying Kick. The story in Slap Them All 2 is your typical Asterix story. The Gauls are living their life in their village until one day the son of the tribe's leader, just for kicks, comes running and screaming that the Romans are chasing him. Our heroes step in trying to resolve the matter peacefully and are interpreted by the Romans as a charging attack. From that, you are already in the game beating Romans left and right. As you can already expect, the story here is simple, but it's fun. There's dialogue between our heroes and the many enemies and allies you will find along the way, and every line is voiced in French. Curiously enough, the game says it has audio in English, but mine is all in French and I can't see how to change it. Not that I wanted to, because being in French is a positive for me. I like it when any piece of media keeps the language in its original form. There's not much to say about the story here. As I said, this is your typical Asterix story with the characters you know, lots of beaten Romans and boars to eat. It's a fun story and if you're a fan of the duo, there's a lot for you here. Now, the graphics in this game are amazing. I mean, it always was. The first game also had amazing graphics, but here they are a little bit better. The lighting is better, the animation looks smoother, and the levels are way more alive than in the first game. Your village and the Roman cities are brimming with life and people talking, walking and doing their stuff. The lighting is especially gorgeous in this game with the sun shining through trees and giving the whole thing a special look that you don't easily find anywhere else. Not to mention there are details all around the whole scenario with gorgeous forests, beautiful town squares and ruins of old buildings. There's a lot to see here and you will notice the developer put a lot of love in each and every background. The animations are also amazing. Seeing Asterix grabbing an enemy by the foot and spinning them around above his head is something that never gets old. Or even seeing lines and lines of Roman soldiers being thrown up and down, it's not only funny, but amazing to see that many animations playing out on your screen. It's a gorgeous game, but at least on the Switch, this beauty comes with a price. More than often, especially with the screen filled with enemies, I noticed some dips in the performance, some very big dips. The game runs at 60 FPS most of the times, but when the screen is littered with enemies, it can easily go down to the forest. I mean, I know the Switch isn't the most powerful console in the market, you know, but I ran heavier games on it without that much of a problem, and this includes the first game. But here something went very, very wrong. I even thought that it was maybe due to my Switch being old and probably dying, but I ran Streets of Rage 4 and had no performance problem whatsoever, so there's that. When it comes to the audio, the game is... well, it's complicated. The game has some very good voices for all characters. You can hear Asterix and Obelix talking and taunting their enemies. There's a good variety in the voices, so you won't get tired of them easily. Your slaps are also pretty good to hear with some cartoony sounds that increase even more the feeling that you are playing indeed a cartoon. Actually, all the sound effects in the game are cartoonish, from the punches you land on your enemies to things breaking. It all works pretty well here, except for the soundtrack. While it's good, the soundtrack is so quiet and silent that it will be hard for you to notice it when you're playing. This is a shame because, as I said, the compositions are great, but I'm not sure if they are the perfect fit for a beat'em up. They sound like cartoon music, like the ones you would listen to on an old Disney cartoon, which is great for cartoons, but not so much for a beat'em up. I would like to show you guys some of them, as I usually do, but unfortunately I can reduce the volume of the sound effects. Actually, you have no sound options whatsoever, which is a little odd to say the least. While the audio is good, it feels a little hollow thanks to the music being so low. There will be moments when you will be walking until your next encounter that will simply appear silent, but the music is playing very quietly in the background. As I said, odd.
Hop. Hey, hop. 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 Viens par là, toi. Par ici. Et hop.
Now, you guys already know, right? Let's take a look at the gameplay and combat. Well, here is where most of the good things I discussed go down the drain. First, let's take a look at what you can do. Here you have your light and strong attack, a jump with the respective aerial attacks for light and strong attack, a grab button for enemies and items, a special attack that uses a bar under the character and is filled by your hits, and a swap button that allows you to change characters if you're playing alone. There isn't much of a variety here, to be honest. While you have two types of attack, you can barely mix them, because your strong attack will always knock your enemy away from you. You can use your strong attack to finish a sequence, but that's it. If you try to be creative and try to mix your attacks to give the combat some variety, your enemy will be thrown away and you will have to start your combo all over again. I mean, that's if you want to use your regular attacks to beat your enemies. You see, the thing here is that the game is very similar to the comics and cartoons. The exaggeration, the goofiness and the comedic tone of the original work were brought to the game in full force, which in the end ruined the beaten up experience. You might have noticed that for most of this footage I have been playing with Asterix more than Obelix. If you know me, you might be thinking that is because I like playing with the faster character and I suck with the slower ones, but nope, not this time. I'm using Asterix here because Obelix is virtually useless. Let me explain. Trying to fight your enemies here with your punches will work, but you probably will get frustrated pretty quickly thanks to the longer reach most of your enemies have. Most of them are armed with pikes and knives and they will poke you when you least expect, ruin your attacks and opening the door to other enemies to crush you. Some bosses will also easily crush you if you try to face them head on thanks to their huge life bar and the fact that you can resist almost no punishment. Yeah, for some reason the duo that can beat an entire Roman legion before breakfast has the resistance of a paper toy. Even common enemies can easily kill you if they lock you in a corner, and believe me, they will. Another annoying thing that will easily kill you is those knife throwers that can unleash an unending stream of knives in your direction that will leave you defenseless and at the mercy of the enemy. So the only way to fight them and have a fair chance is by using Asterix grab. When he grabs an enemy, he spins them over his head and hit every enemy around you. It's not the strongest hit, but it does its job. The thing is, you will be using this move the whole time. There's no other alternative here. Trying to fight him using your fist will only lead to frustration because you have a huge number of enemies on your screen, and even if you try to crowd control them, there are so many that it's easier just to pick a fool and spin them around until you finish all your enemies. And you can use the same guy for as long as you wish. Here, the guy you're spinning and throwing for some reason does not lose life, so they will be your best weapon in the game. Even against bosses, the best way to beat them, again, is using one of their minions as weapon. True, you can pick up everyone, the big guys are impossible to grab, but they always have minions around that you can use. And if they are alone, as it happens sometimes, just flying kick the heck out of them and you're golden, since your enemies have no defense against aerial attacks. It's a broken combat where the only way you have to deal with them will be by using these exploits. This is a terrible game design and something that baffles me to see in a game like this one, especially because this is their second entry. Look, I could be here the whole day talking and detailing every problem this game has with its combat. Yes, it's a better game than the first with smaller levels, more variety enemies and bosses, but again, as with the first one, the game is so boring, the combat's so shallow, that's hard to recommend to anyone. If you're a huge fan of the duo and really want to see a new cartoon episode playing on your screen, well, you have 17 levels to do it, but don't blame me when you pass out of boredom. In the end, this is another missed opportunity from the developers. Asterix and Obelix is a great franchise and perfect for a beat'em up, but unfortunately this is another case where a talented developer decides to make a beat'em up because they think it is an easy genre to make. You simply walk right and punch everyone, right?
Wrong.
Beat'em up is a very complex genre, and making a compelling game where you can't wait for the next encounter is harder than it looks. For $25, having only the story mode, no drop-in co-op, yeah, you have to select at the start of the game, and no online or extra features, this is an easy pass for me. As with the first game, it's a gorgeous game, but all the compliments ends here. Repetitive gameplay, boring combats and annoying enemies are all you get in this one. Asterix and Obelix Slap Them All 2 is available right now for PC, Nintendo Switch, PlayStation and Xbox for $24.99, and this is a huge no from me. There are better games waiting to be picked, so stay away from this one. And that's it for the video, guys. I hope you all enjoyed this review, which should have been smaller, but I talk too much, jeez. If you like what I do here and want to support in any way, a like on the video and subscribing to the channel can go a long way. And if you can, there's also channel membership where you can get videos without ads, suggest games to review, and early access to special feature videos that will start this week. So check it out, it's only $3 a month. Other than that, I hope you all have an awesome day, and remember, keep it up.
Fais plein d'avance, 18.